Good afternoon. The Memphis and Shelby County Board of Adjustment is hereby called to order for its regularly scheduled meeting of October 22nd, 2025. My name is Tim Rainey. I'm chairman of the board. Mr. Jeffrey Penzis serves as secretary of the board. Mr. Penzis, may I get a roll call, please?
Mr. Bruce.
Present.
Mr. Campbell.
Present.
Mr. Claybrook.
Here.
Ms. Conrad.
Here.
Mr. Love.
Here.
Ms. Skurlock.
Here.
Vice Chair Savage Selden.
Present.
And Chair Rainey.
Here.
We have a quorum.
All right. Thank you. The Memphis and Shelby County Board of Adjustment is the oldest appointed governmental body in Memphis and Shelby County. We were established in 1925. The board hears appeals from the administration of the zoning ordinance, requests for variances from the zoning ordinance, and other requests articulated by local zoning laws adopted pursuant to the enabling legislation. The 8 members of the board are appointed, 4 by the mayor of Memphis and 4 by the mayor of Shelby County, with confirmation by the Memphis City Council or Shelby County Board of Commissioners. We serve without remuneration. This time I'd like to swear in staff. You may remain seated. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? All right, thank you. May I get a motion to approve the minutes from last month's meeting?
So moved.
Second. All right, any discussion? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion passes. Mr. Secretary, could you provide us a secretary's report if we have one this month, and then explain the procedure for today's meeting?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. As for the Secretary's report, there are no announcements this afternoon. The procedures for this meeting will be as follows. I will introduce each case as listed on the agenda. Copies of the agenda can be found on the front podium. For each case, the planner with the Division of Planning and Development will give a presentation. At the conclusion of the staff presentation, the applicant will have 5 minutes to present his or her case. After the applicant's presentation, those speakers in support will have a total of 5 minutes, then those speakers in opposition will have a total of 10 minutes, and then finally the applicant will have 2 minutes to provide rebuttal. These times do not include time for questions from and answers to members of the board. The chairman may provide additional time provided both sides are given an equal amount of additional time. All parties who wish to provide testimony to the board will be sworn in by the chairman. If a member of the audience wishes to provide testimony in support of or in opposition to a particular case on today's agenda, he or she will need to fill out a speaker's card for the record. Speaker's cards are available at the front podium. Once filled out, speaker's cards can be submitted to any DPD staff member at the left podium. We do not need speaker's cards from the applicants since their names are already part of the record. After all parties have been heard, the board will close the public hearing, make a motion, and then deliberate on the case. If the applicant or any speaker would like to be heard after the conclusion of the public hearing, or if a board member wishes to hear additional testimony from any party, a 2/3 vote is required to reopen the public hearing pursuant to the board's rules of procedure. Please note that once the public hearing is reopened, both the applicant and opposition will be allowed to provide additional testimony and or rebuttal. All motions by this board will be made in the affirmative. The private acts governing the board require the affirmative vote of at least 5 members to approve an application, regardless of the number of board members present. The board may also vote to hold an application for a period not to exceed 3 months with the consent of the applicant, or 1 month without the consent of the applicant. All section numbers that we refer to come from the Memphis and Shelby County Unified Development Code, or the UDC, which was adopted by the Memphis City Council and Shelby County Board of Commissioners in August of 2010 and became effective on January 1st, 2011. I will introduce the entire UDC and make it part of today's record, thus dispensing with the reading of individual sections. The board is vested with the power to act on these cases before us today under the provisions of Chapter 9.22 of the UDC. Mr. Chairman, I submit that all cases have been filed in proper order, all applicants have been notified of this hearing, and all notice requirements have been fulfilled as required by the UDC.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. At this point, the board will establish the consent agenda. To establish the consent agenda, the Secretary will call out each eligible case. If any member of the audience, staff, or board member objects to a case being placed on the consent agenda, he or she should do so by a show of hands when the Secretary reads that case. Once the consent agenda is established, the board will vote on all cases placed on the consent agenda as a whole, will not hold individual public hearings on those cases. Mr. Secretary, which items on our agenda are eligible to be placed on consent this week?
First, I would just like to note that item number 3 has been withdrawn. Item number 1, BOA 2025-95 at 535 Alabama Avenue as a hold for 1 month. Item number 4, BOA 2025-98 at 1618 Good Bar Avenue as approval with conditions. Item number 5, BOA 2025-100 at 577 East Range Road as approval with conditions. Item number 8, BOA 2025-104 at 1016 Seattle Street as a hold for 1 month. Item number 9, BOA 2025-105 at 2554 Hernando Road as approval with conditions. Item number 10, BOA 2025-107 at 5541 Pleasant View Road as approval with conditions. And item number 11, BOA 2025-108 at 1032 Hale Road as approval with conditions.
All right, thank you, Mr. Secretary. If we could get a motion from the board to approve 1 as a hold, 4 and 5 as approval with conditions, 8 as a hold, 9, 10, 11 as approval with conditions.
So moved.
Second.
All right, I want to remind the board that by voting on the consent agenda, he or she affirms that he or she has read the staff report and is in full agreement with the conditions. Mr. Secretary, may I get a roll call, please?
Mr. Bruce,
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Claybrook,
Yes.
Ms. Conrad,
Yes.
Mr. Love,
Yes.
Yes.
Vice Chair Savage Selden,
Yes, I find that the standards of the UDC of 9.22.6 are being met and will not be unduly detrimental to the properties in the vicinity.
and Chair Rainey.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, so if you're here for those cases, you've been approved or held as requested. You're free to leave if you'd like. Mr. Secretary, if you'll call our first case we need to hear today.
Item number 2, BOA 2025-90 at 2174 Evening View Drive.
Okay, is the applicant present for number 2? Okay, if the applicant will come down to the front, is there any opposition? I don't think so. Okay, we're going to do a staff report on this, and then we'll hear from the applicant.
This is Alexis Longstreet with DPD presenting on case BOA 2025-0090. This property is located at 2174 Evening View Drive. Please ignore the representative line as that is incorrect. This application is a request to allow a metal garage within the residential zoning district. Here is a location map and as well as a vicinity map. About 147 notices were mailed out on October 2nd. There were no letters of support or opposition received or calls of inquiry. This is the zoning map. This property is zoned residential single family 8 and has a single family land use designation and surrounded by similar land use designations. Here is an aerial view of the subject property. This is pretty straightforward in terms of request and what the applicant is proposing. This is a subject property here. And as you can tell, directly next door to this home, they also have some type of metal covering of a carport. We did look into this as staff, and we did not find any permits, so we're assuming it's most likely been grandfathered in as it previously existed. This is the proposed survey, and as well as here's a site plan. So the proposed 20 by 25 metal structure would be located within all the proper setbacks and as well as has a decent setback from the home. And I'll go back to the site photos just so you can kind of get an optic example of what that's going to look like. It'll be behind this fence in the northeast corner of the property. But because of the height, you will still be able to see it from your regular street view. So the applicant did apply for a residential accessory permit that has not yet been issued because of the issue of the metal material for the carport. carport or for the shed, I apologize. And staff did not find that any of the findings of fact were justifiable for the use of the material, whereas the applicant could use a material that is like the existing architecture or complying with code. And so that's the justified reason behind our rejection recommendation as well. And that concludes my presentation.
Thank you, Ms. Longstreet. Is there any questions for staff?
Real quick, just wanted to understand, he has applied for what was the application he applied for?
The residential accessory permit, that's through building and code.
And so the issue with that is just the material, the siding.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? All right, if the applicant will come forward and give your name and address for the record.
You go to the
Go ahead.
podium.
You'll give your, you can go right to the middle of this mic right there. And if you'll give your name and address.
Okay, my name is J. Leo Garcia, and my address is 2174 Evening View Drive in Memphis, Tennessee,
Okay.
38134.
Yeah. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Okay, go ahead and tell us about it.
One of the reasons that I wanted to build this metal garage is because I have lots of tools that I use on my own for my property, such as for the landscaping and tools that I have for my everyday work. And my vehicles, most of the time, they stay on the outside in the driveway. When the most intense heat, it's always in my side after afternoon, which is the strongest heat, or the cold weather. So I need something to put my cars in, my tools and stuff like that. That way, keep the back of my property a whole lot more in line versus having stuff everywhere in the back, which you can't see from the street, but I like to keep them in place, organized and stuff like that.
All right. Is there a reason why you can't put some sort of brick or wood siding on it so it looks not metallic anymore? The issue is not the garage.
Mm-hmm.
The issue is the material of the garage.
Okay, well, the reason that I wanted to build it that way because I was working on one of the big jobs, and the general contractor gave me all of this stuff. Afterwards, used everything that was the leftover stuff, but everything was brand new. So to me, kind of, in my personal opinion, it would make no sense to buy stuff, that is acceptable for the code, such as a brake, siding, and some other stuff, while I have this stuff for free.
Right. Yeah, I don't know if that's going to work. Any thoughts or questions from the board?
Well, as you see, it's showing that the columns will be columns and horizontal HSS tubes are the skin. What is that? The skin is insulated panel. Yes. It's like two pieces of metal, and they have the insulation on inside already, versus buying the insulations. Yeah, it's a male and female corrugation on the stuff.
Oh, yeah. The location's not a problem, it's just
I was basically suggesting that, just confirming that he can do a brick or a siding by right. I mean, there's nothing.
correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, a question, if you had to do a brick or siding or use something other than the metal, would that keep you from building the garage? Or, and,
It will.
why would you not be able to build the
Yeah,
garage then?
it will keep me from it.
Why is that?
Well, if I'm going to do it like you're telling me about siding or brick or other stuff that are, permitted by the codes, then I have to pay from zero, pay all the companies to do it. I can do it if I use that material. I had to spend money on those materials. I had to spend money on contractors, all type of companies that I had to come in to be involved and to build it. And so on this type of material, that's what I do every day for living.
Do you have anything else you want to add before we just?
No,
Okay.
that'll be
All right, and
everything.
then let me make sure there's no one here in opposition, correct? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, if we could get a motion to approve, make sure I'm on the right one here. I'm not, sorry. Yeah, thank you. BOA 2025-90 as conditioned by staff.
So moved.
Just clarification, BOA 2024-9.
He said,
Wait, my staff report says 24.
Staff report says
It
24.
wouldn't have to be 2025,
I don't know.
or has this been sitting around for a year? Yeah.
Okay.
I got that from, yeah, it was right, I got that from the, yeah, okay, perfect, I got it from there. Okay, any discussion?
so again, if we vote this down and he decides to go and do it with the correct materials, it doesn't have to come back.
No, the only, I mean,
It's only coming here because it's met. And
we're supposed to find there's something unique with the property, and the only unique thing that he has is that he was given some metal.
yeah, that's what I'm
Right,
saying.
so I don't know that we even have the ability to say yes, based on how it's been presented. But yeah, he can build another structure there with wood or brick. Any other discussion? All right, if you'll give us a roll call, please.
Mr. Campbell,
No.
Mr. Claybrook,
No.
Mr. Bruce,
No.
Ms. Skurlock,
No.
Ms. Conrad,
No.
Mr. Love,
No.
Chair Rayner.
No.
Motion passed.
Sorry, we can't approve you to do it with the metal, so it's been denied. If you could call the next case, please.
Item number 4, BOA 2025-98 reading the wrong case. Item number 6, BOA 2025-102 at 4670 Covington Pike.
Okay, the applicant's coming down. If the opposition wants to come in and be a little closer to the front, that would be great. I got some cards here for people to speak. But we're going to start with the staff report that Ms. Christian's going to give us.
Good afternoon. Sorry about that, everyone. I'm Chloe Christian. I'll be presenting this case. It's BOA 2025-0102. This is a use variance request to allow contractor storage at 4670 Covington Pike. The applicant is Christian Martinez of Tuzo Underground, and the representative is Milos with Whitehead Law, who's here with us today. Here's the location map of the property. It's in the Raleigh area off Austin P. It was rezoned to commercial mixed use 2 in 2022, which does not allow contractor storage, and it is recorded in the Hanover property CP plan. The applicant purchased the property in late 2022 to store equipment for his fiber optic installation company. The property is densely screened from view of the nearby residential properties, which is also a requirement for any limited outdoor storage in the UDC. And overall, staff is recommending approval with conditions for this request to ensure adherence to the outdoor storage requirements of the code and have minimal impact on the residential properties nearby. This is a zoning map of the property. As I stated earlier, the property was rezoned to CMU2 in 2002. Prior to that, it was zoned agriculture and residential. As you can see on the land use map, the surrounding properties are vacant, and there is a residential subdivision to the south, which is the Tulip Creek subdivision. Here are some photos of the site. As I mentioned, there is some pretty dense mature tree coverage surrounding the site. And then this photo on the left-hand side is the access point to the site, which is gated. Here's some more photos of behind the tree coverage of the site. This is the Hanover property CP plan that the site is recorded in. So as a note, if this request is to be approved, the applicant would need to file a final plat recording application to re-record the plat. Here is the preliminary site plan that was provided by the applicant. I will note there's no proposed buildings with this application. It's merely legitimizing the existing use of the property as contractor storage, but no buildings are proposed. The only new construction would be the installation of fencing along all the property lines, which is required by the code. And we would recommend a site-proof fencing be added as this is required. So when you look at the UDC subsection 4.8.4b, limited outdoor storage is permitted in CMU2 in association with any permitted non-residential use, given that certain rules are met, which are highlighted on your screen here. The two main things are that the storage shall not be more than 12 feet in height, and that it shall be fully screened from view, and also that it's located 15 feet from the public right-of-way. So we find that the use of the property as a low-intensity, limited outdoor storage that meets these requirements is practical, and that it will not cause substantial detriment to the public good, nor substantially impair the intent and purpose of the UDC. So with that, we do recommend approval with conditions. We did hand out earlier some amended conditions, which you can see here. I'll just pause to allow you all to read the conditions, but that concludes my presentation, and I'm here if there's any further questions. Thank you.
So I have a couple questions. One, this is CMU2, correct? That's what it got
Yes.
changed to back in 2002 or something like that.
That's correct.
So, given those limitations of the 12-foot height and site-proof stuff, why is this not just allowed by right? Like, what am I missing? So why are we here when it looked like under that rule it could happen?
So contractor storage itself is not a permitted use in CMU2, but limited outdoor storage is, given that it is permitted by the board.
Okay. And what's the difference between the two?
That's a great question.
So contractor storage is basically, it's a use in section 2.5.2, and that's not allowed in the commercial use, mixed use 2 district. And the limited outdoor storage is permitted in the CMU2 district, but I mean, that includes like, you can see like a vehicle repair or a service place, they may have outdoor storage as well of vehicles. So it's just, the one is more broad, covering outdoor storage in general, and the 2.5.2, that's specifically about the use that the applicant is doing.
Okay, all right. Any other questions?
I just want to make sure I'm clear. The changes that are shown on the screen here, the staff, is the staff okay with those changes? Have they been through staff and staff is okay with these, the changes to the conditions?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. We can move on to our applicant.
As he's doing his presentation, I can swear in if you're ready.
Go ahead and give your name and address.
Milos Mikic, 275 Jefferson Avenue, Memphis, Tennessee, 38103.
I do swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help God.
I do.
Okay, go ahead.
So, first and foremost, Chairman and board members, thanks for having me. It's always a privilege to be here. Also want to thank DPD. Mr. Ragsdale and Ms. Christian actually did come out to the site. When I interviewed the Martinez brothers about this, contractor storage is not the milkshake that brings anything but opposition to the yard. And so there was a lot of questions I had for them. And the primary one was, hey, like, is this a stop? Are you guys in trouble? Is that where you guys are reaching out to us? They have not been cited, no courtesy citations. They're just trying to legitimize what they're doing. And so it was really cool to work with Ms. Christian on the conditions specifically, trying to figure something out that was going to get OPD to give us a staff report approval with recommendations. I know there's some people that might lose sleep thinking that when Whitehead Law submits on a CELA that an approval with conditions spits out on the other side. We have to work to get here, and so it was just a lot of fun to work with DPD on this. Tuzo Underground, which is owned by Christian and Rodolfo, they install critical infrastructure for AT&T. So if you've had AT&T or Xfinity or somebody come to your house and hook your house in to fiber optic, that isn't really what they do. They come into your neighborhood and they set your whole neighborhood up for it, right? So they're kind of doing more of the large scale infrastructure for AT&T. So with that, this is Whitehead Law, and the managing partner is Memphis's most renowned unlicensed zoning historian. So I think that's a good place for us to start in this. Next slide, sir. So here's just the, again, from the GIS, you can see Austin P Highways there on the left, and we have Covington Pike. Next slide. So there we get, there's us. I think Chloe said 2002, 2001, whatever it was, got rezoned from CA residential to CMU2. And the way that happened was there was a hearing at the Land Use Control Board, 3 readings at City Council, and then 3 at County Commission. If you've gone to County Commission once, you understand that that is a robust process just to go once. And so going through County Commission 3 times, City Council 3 times, Land Use Control Board, that rezoning wasn't it wasn't a knee-jerk reaction, right? Nothing had been put there for decades before they changed it. They changed it. We're kind of assuming that they wanted some sort of strip mall in there. Obviously, that didn't come to fruition. And then Tuzo Underground bought it in 2022. The reason it's a Board of Adjustment, that southern side it was much higher than the rest of the property. That northern side dips down pretty substantially. And so what they had to do as soon as they got it, actually the GIS shows a little bobcat and the dirt had just been moved. They moved as much dirt from that southern side to fill in the north side as much as they could. And there's still pretty steep drop-offs on that northern half that just make it really difficult, if not impossible, to build on. And so go to this next slide. So that's the conservation agriculture parcel that is right next door to them. In 2001, June specifically, that ended up in Chancery Court. There was various properties that there was 5 heirs that owned all of them with a 1/5 interest. The gentleman that now owns this one took everyone to Chancery Court because I'm assuming he just didn't want to be a part of a bunch of different properties. He just wanted his one. And just to kind of give you the mindset of Tuzo Underground, they were actually under contract to purchase that in addition to what they purchased. And their mindset with that was they wanted to guarantee that they could remain, that buffer could remain there. And so they aren't exactly sure what happened. They had money in escrow, and then whoever showed up on the closing day on the California side, there was an issue with the identification, and so that fell through. But just so that the neighbors understand, they're really focused on trying to not be a nuisance, and just what they want is to just blend in with all of the foliage and no one to know that they're there. Next slide, Josh. So we have 2 phases for Tulip Creek neighborhood. It's a beautiful neighborhood. I've driven through it. The first phase was platted in December of 2003, and then the second one was platted in 2005. The only reason I mention that, I don't say that to let anyone that lives in Tulip Creek or anyone that's ever lived there say like, oh, you should have known that this was zoned commercial. It's more just that it's sat empty for a long time, but it has been zoned commercial for quite some time. Josh, next slide. So there's our site. Obviously, the GIS is taken more during the winter so you can see better. But this is what it looks like when the trees are green. You can see it's very thick. There is 50 feet from the neighborhood line to Tuzo Underground's southern border. And then we have another probably like 40 to 60 feet there of trees that they don't plan on taking out. They would like to leave that there just to keep that screening. So really, we're looking at like 110 feet between that neighborhood and them that they shouldn't be able to see anything. We're also going to fence immediately along Covington Pike. We asked DPD for a little bit of flexibility there because we would like to build that within the trees so that it's probably going to be a chain link fence with green covering on it, because our goal is that if you drive down Covington Pike and you look right or left, depending on what direction you're going, you might see a gate, and that's it. We really don't want anyone else seeing that there's expensive equipment back there. These houses are expensive. They've got 17 dually trucks and a lot of equipment. Their equipment is very expensive too. And so I just want the neighbors to know that, the fears with crime and theft, Tuzo Underground shares that as well, and they want to be a good neighbor and just make sure those things don't happen. There's a lot of stuff going on in Memphis, and in the last 5 years look a lot different than the 5 years before that. So I know that we're worried about what's going on, and so when this variance comes in and you get this letter in your mailbox, it can light you on fire. But the reason we took this case was the screening is so thick. The way that Tuzo operates is they get there, it's pretty early in the morning. Their workers get there, they park their cars, they will get into one of the pickup trucks, they'll check their gear, make sure they have everything that they need, and they hit the road. And they don't come back for 10, 11, 12, 13 hours. They work really long days. And so by the time they come back, that rush hour traffic is pretty well gone. They might run into it a little bit. They park, they get in their car, and they leave. So most of the day, that parcel is empty. And the reason I bring that up was there was a concern for traffic that was mentioned a few times. If we can read between the lines and think that there was supposed to probably be a strip mall that someone was hoping would go in here, if you use the Institute of Transportation Engineers, they got some really good algorithms that you can put different things in. If you put in like a 20,000 square foot strip mall, 3, 4, 5 businesses, On the conservative end, that's about 1,000 trips a day that that parcel would be creating. And so when we talk about people coming in, 17 trucks leaving, 17 trucks coming back, and then those same people leaving, that use traffic-wise is so much less intense than what we believe was initially meant to be there. So with that, if you guys have any questions, I'm here to answer it. Otherwise, we'd like to spend the rest of the time to listen to the opposition, see if there's anything else that has popped up aside from the emails that came in.
Okay, are there any questions? Okay, thank you so much. So what we're going to do now, we're going to move to the opposition. We have 10 minutes for opposition to speak, and I have some cards that I can call people, or if y'all know who would like to talk first, we can do it that way as well. Would the Burnett's or the Merles like to speak? Okay, come on down. And if you'll give your name and address for the record for me.
My name is Betty Morrell, 4622 Tulip Bend Drive.
Okay, and do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Okay, go ahead and talk to us.
Yes, sir. When they first came, we didn't have not a clue what was going on. The next thing we know, all this big equipment and all this stuff was being torn in, and humongous vehicles going in and out. It's right there by the highway. It's right there by our neighborhood. Our children play, not just exactly there, but still you have a lot of traffic coming in and out, big trucks in the wintertime or whenever it's a lot of rain. They bring in mud piles, just, you know how it is, because it's a muddy area. It drags it on out to the two little small lane road that leads in there. We've been in that house, so we had known that they were going to do something like that. We never would have had the house built from the ground in 2005. We are original owners. And speaking for my neighbors, that house is back up against that. Whatever they're doing over there, nothing should be that close. It's going to be loud. I can't just say everything because, it just took us by surprise. No one sent us any information. They just arrived. And now here we are at this point. And like I say, this neighborhood, it's a lot of children. It's a lot of people walk and ride their bikes. A lot of people walk up that way and back down and on a daily basis. And like I said, if we had known anything like this would have been allowed, we would have never had our home built. And we've been there 20 plus years. Thank you.
And remind me your address again.
4622 Tulip Bend Drive.
Does that back up to it? I'm looking at a map. I'm trying to see where that would be. Are you north or south of Tulip Grove?
That's my husband.
Okay. Gotcha. But my map just isn't listing all the streets. I just like to kind of get in my head what's going on. I see it. Okay, gotcha. Any other questions for Ms. Morrell? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Would the Burnett's, would y'all like to speak? And if you'll go ahead and give your name and address for the record.
Yes, Keisha Burnett, 5646 Tulip Grove Drive. And we're actually the fifth house from the corner.
If you'll give your name and address too, I'll swear you both in.
Price Burnett. I'm the husband of Keisha Burnett, 5646 Tulip Grove Drive. We're the fifth house on the bottom, right there.
All right. Do y'all swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes,
sir. Okay,
yes.
Go ahead. Thank y'all.
So I'm opposed to the building, the storage building being put in our neighborhood because the present owner of the property is already operating same sentiment as Mrs. Morrell, that when this particular project or whatever's going on for the fiber cables were established, we were not notified of that by, email or mail or anything. We just looked up and it was there one day. The workers are parked on the side of the neighborhood, the neighbor's residence that's located right there on the corner. And, of course you can't see this on a picture, but it is an issue with the traffic coming in and out. It's two lanes leading out to the highway. I'm up early enough to hear noise from that business. I get up around 5:36 a.m. I'm hearing noise out there. Not really sure what they're doing, but again, it's an eyesore, and I can only imagine just how noisy it's going to be when they build whatever they're trying to build here with this storage unit. And in addition to the concerns that I just mentioned, we are concerned about the decline of our property value due to having a commercial business being established in a residential neighborhood. And my other concerns include safety as well as potential crime. I know that, it was said previously that, well, we don't anticipate any crime, but we cannot predict whether or not there's going to be crime or not going to be crime in the neighborhood. We don't want this in our neighborhood. We were not informed of this right here in the first place, and we don't want anything else there.
Price.
First of all, I'd like to apologize for leaving the chambers twice. I would like to start off by saying that the pictures that was presented to the board earlier in the proceedings are wildly inaccurate. I don't know if I wasn't privy to what audiovisual was available to us for this. So today at 12:30, I took a video from the corner of Covington Pike and Austin P, which is Highway 14, and I wanted the board to see how you can visually see all of the equipment, all of the trucks from the street when you pull into the neighborhood. Those pictures that were given to you all to see were very sterile. I don't know when they took them or whatever, but mine are accurate, and they are from about 2 hours ago. Now, as we stated before, our house is the fifth one from the end. So from our back door in our backyard over our 10-foot fence, we can see all of the trucks and all of the materials through that foliage even now. So if we can see that now in October, by December, when all of it's gone, all of it will be visible not only from our backyard, but from Austin P itself. So there's a concern for our property value, because if you pull into the entire reason that my wife and I chose to move there, we've been there 10 years, we're not renting, we're buying the house, is we did not want to live inside the city limits. We wanted to stay in the county. And our house is a destination. It's not like anyone can say, hey, we were in the neighborhood, we thought we'd stop by. We're 2 miles north of Methodist North Hospital. It was very intentional for us to move there because we did not want to be around any commercial or industrial traffic, and we wanted to be away from the crime. My wife has worked at UT here downtown, about 3 traffic lights away for the past 20 years. So we live a long way away from here. So she travels a lot to come to work. So it's very intentional that we move there. Now, over the past 2 years, as previously stated, the company has moved in. None of the residents were notified. At around between 6 and 6:30 every morning, there's a congregation of employees. The trucks are industrial, diesel sounding trucks. They're loud. So everybody on that road is awakened every morning at 6 o'clock, between 6 and 6:30, with diesel engines. And I don't know if you all are able to pull up YouTube and put them on the screens, but the reason I walked out twice is I was uploading the video in case you all could. And you could see, not even 70 yards away, directly across the street, that entire area to the west of that picture, northwest of that picture, is commercial. There's an auxiliary bread company that ships bread from there, and there's an empty commercial property that's about, I would say, about an acre of land It's an acre of land directly across the street. So the encroachment into the neighborhood was unnecessary. It may have been less expensive to do, and it may have been done with the forethought that the residents would not know how to contest this. So if it's at all possible, if you all could pull up the YouTube video that I just uploaded, I can give it to you. And it was made about an hour and a half ago, and you can see and illustrate what I'm saying. Is that possible?
Is that possible to pull up a YouTube video?
Or I can give Chairman, I can give you the phone for all of y'all to see.
Chloe should be able to do it. While she's doing that.
Can I step to the young lady and give her the?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Question real quick. You go ahead.
Okay.
That's fine. So when y'all bought the house, did y'all look at the zoning around? I mean, a lot of times you buy and you just expect what's there is going to be there, but like it is a commercial parcel that's right there in your backyard.
We were unaware of this.
Sure, and I wouldn't expect you. I mean, like
Yeah.
that's something that like you're supposed to be aware of, but none of us think about stuff like that. You're just like, oh, there's woods.
That's the video. That's it.
And I was going to ask the same thing, just as you were mentioning about we weren't expecting commercial businesses.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of CMU to other businesses that can go there by right, meaning they don't have to come here. I was just looking at the list. I mean, technically a tattoo parlor can go there without right, or you can have a greenhouse or nursery. So I just want you to keep in mind that even if this doesn't go there, there's other businesses that can be even more.
And we understand that, but we just don't want it.
It's like going to a restaurant and you get a roach in your food, then you look at the health inspection before you walk in.
Yeah.
That's not what people do when they buy a house.
Subdivision.
So if you can run the video back to the beginning.
Ironically enough, here's one of the.
All right, that's the corner of Highway 14 and Covington Pike. When you enter into our neighborhood.
At about 12:30
If you can turn it up.
Standing at the corner of Highway 14, which is Austin P, of
It'll
course,
speak for itself.
and Covington Pike. Directly across the street is a commercial area. This business right here is an auxiliary of a bread company. And this is the entrance to the Tulip Grove subdivision. Ironically enough, here's one of the trucks that just pulled out of the business
Because we only have like a minute of testimony.
that has found a home entrance. I want to draw your attention
to the left
to
where
what's
they said that it's not
right
visible
next to
from
the
the
tree
street.
line.
You can see all of their
I can
equipment
zoom
from the
in
street
here.
through the foliage now.
Thinking you can see all of this equipment. Of course, with it being October, the brush covers a bit of it, but a month from now, all of this will be visible. Let me zoom in here again. There you go. Industrial wire.
And let's forward it a little bit.
There's the trash
And
and the
so
storage.
a lot of the
Right to the
industrial
right.
sized trucks are not here, but right here on the street, very visible going into the neighborhood, is trash.
So again, the pictures that were given to you all were wildly inaccurate.
Okay.
And this area right here is where the employees park their vehicles.
So you're saying they kind of queue up waiting for work to start?
They're right there.
With
And
the trucks running.
And sometimes they're out in the road.
And I will zoom in on the
Okay, all right. Are there any questions for the Burnett's, right?
There is, when they talk about the kite-proof fence, so the foliage, all along Covington Pike, so with the deciduous foliage, the kite-proof fence will, screen what you're seeing now. That is one of the conditions.
Ms. Conrad, did we have your microphone? Is your microphone on?
Yes.
I didn't hear.
I was just saying, one of the conditions is a site-proof fence all along Covington Pike. So with the deciduous leaves falling off,
Unless that fence is about 20 feet tall, you'll still be able to see it because it's on a hill and you can see it from the highway.
Right, this does not talk about a height.
So even with the fence, it'll still be visible, and it'll be visible to everyone that turns into the neighborhood. As you know, as you saw in the video, the pictures they presented to you all earlier were, staged, I would assume, because those are as of 2 hours ago, and the trash is right there on the street, as you saw. There's storage, those wires, those containers, they're all right there on the street.
Is the biggest issue that it's a commercial use, or is it the specific type of commercial use that is being suggested?
I would say it's the type, and also with that eyesore, it's going to lower our property values. And that's what we're concerned about. We are concerned about our property values going down as a result of this business being in our neighborhood.
I guess the question each of you can ask yourselves is, would you want to turn into that on your way home every day? Would you want your children playing around 12 to 17 industrial-sized diesel trucks pulling out and pulling into the neighborhood? Or awakened every morning at 6:30 by 12 to 17 diesel trucks, industrial-sized?
Okay, any other questions?
Not at the moment.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, so now it's time for rebuttal.
Chairman, how much time do I have?
I think it's like 4 minutes.
Okay. The first thing I want to address is the trash. So that's just stuff that when they get their fiber optic stuff in, those crates, that's what the stuff comes in. And so initially they put that up there because people were coming onto the property and getting into the trucks. So that was just like a stopgap to create some sort of obstruction for people to be able to get in faster. I think that is completely ameliorated by the site-proof fence and pushing the gate back and making sure that the gate is also site-proof. I guess we have differing views on visibility and where to walk. There's no sidewalk there, so I would not walk there. So I guess that wasn't something I had super considered, especially like walking to Austin Peay. I don't know, there's just, to me, that's more of I don't know why you'd be walking there when you have a beautiful neighborhood to walk through. But again, our goal is if you're driving or even walking down Covington Pike and you look towards Tuzo, we don't want you to see anything. We want you to see site-proof fencing that blends in with whatever's around there. If they wanted to have the gate painted green too, we are very open to all of these conditions. And, when Mr. Ragsdale and Ms. Christian were out there, we can park the trucks on the northern side, even to give more sound suppression there. And again, when you talk about that, the north side of the property and how close that is to Austin Peay isn't that much further from the neighborhood as well. And we've got some pretty big trucks going on Austin Peay. I drive an F-150. These are dualies. I drive an F-150 that is bigger than some of these dualies and at no issue driving down that road. And it's not because I'm a super gifted driver. So I look at what we have proposed, not necessarily as a problem, but more of a solution once the conditions have been carried out is really how we look at it. That eyesore goes away. There's not noise. There are no structures being proposed. There's no storage building being proposed. This is literally a place for them to park. I really don't understand how there can be a queue of trucks in the morning trying to get into the parcel when all of those trucks are locked in the parcel. I can ask about that. I don't know. That wasn't something that we had heard. If there is an issue with queuing, with say maybe people get there early, that is something that we can address via conditions as well. Again, I look at all of these amended conditions and the work we did with DPD is ameliorating most of these concerns. And again, when it's site-proof, when it's not loud, the property prices, I don't have a crystal ball that's going to say 100% they won't go down. But when you can't see it, you can't hear it, I would bet more money on it would at least stay the same and not go down. Let me check my notes real quick. And that concludes my presentation, unless you guys have a few more questions.
Okay, are there any questions?
Yes, I have.
Yes, ma'am.
Are there any intentions for putting any asphalt paving on the?
Not right now, because if we put the asphalt paving in, it's kind of it's 6 one way, half a dozen the other, right? Because there is a little bit of dust when the vehicles come in, but if we asphalt all of that, then we kind of have maybe some drainage issues because we've just added a lot of impervious surface to it. So they haven't necessarily looked at one way or the other so far.
So what are the conditions like when we have a lot of rain? I mean, we have a lot of rain like in April and May.
That wasn't something they mentioned to me as an issue. It's possible if that was something that we maybe wanted to talk about, they might be open to that, because I know that their plan is to beautify the parcel. And we can definitely ask them about that. If that's something that you guys would want to condition, we could ask them about that and go from there.
Other questions?
Yeah, so your fencing will run all down the entire side along Covington Pike, or where will the fencing run?
So initially, immediately on Covington Pike, and then after listening to the neighbors, I would like to also do that southern part. Anything, because there's like 325 feet from the north tip to the closest house. That is a massive amount of screen. And so I think what would be more urgent is Covington Pike and then that southern side, get that site-proof fencing in there just to immediately get rid of some of the trash that they've been using to make a wall with. I think that would just immediately, that eyesore is just gone.
Okay, so that's what you're doing first. If I'm reading that correctly, the fence is gonna end up being around the entire property. Is
Yes.
that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And how high? I know that came up.
We're probably just gonna start with 6 feet and then kind of see how that looks and go from there.
I do have another question. So the site is used just for storage primarily? The trucks come, pick up items?
Yeah, there's no repairing or conditioning. They're literally just staging there.
Are you considering at any point in time, like, doing like a metal building or something where the storage
We
could be
talked
in
about
here
that in the
indoors?
beginning. That was something they were thinking was like probably 2-3 years away. And so when I was talking to him, I was like, man, that's so far down the line. Let's just worry about the use right now, especially because I wouldn't want them to hire an architect or an engineer, get a structure all set up to the plans and whatnot, and then the use isn't even approved. And so talking with DPD, we also decided that it would be best to not worry about any buildings on the property right now and strictly storage.
But that is some part of a conversation, maybe a futuristic
A possibility, yes. And when I was talking to DPD, if they did do that, Mr. Ragsdale immediately pointed out, like, if that was going to happen, that would be something that would be on that north side as far up as we could push it away from the neighborhood.
Any other questions? Okay. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, I think if we can get a motion to approve BOA 2025-102 as conditioned by staff using our most recent conditions.
So moved.
Second.
All right, moving to second, discussion.
A 6-foot high fence is not very high. Well, my other concern is the neighborhood, school buses probably come in and go out there. That's a 2-lane road, and you got that traffic of 17 trucks and whatever competing. School buses aren't coming at 5 and 6, 8. I think that's when the Burnetts were leaving for work, but about the same time construction start is when middle or high school bus would come to pick up kids from usually they come to a stop. I should ask where the bus stops are, but that's they're competing with school bus traffic.
Yeah. My thoughts were adding, to approve it, there need to be a few more conditions. And I'll go over what I wrote down. One would be like, somehow I don't want any workers queuing on the road, waiting for that gate to open. They can come when it's time to go to work, and that's it. We don't want them parking on the street waiting. I wouldn't want somebody parking in front of my house waiting to get to their job. So I don't think that, I don't really like that. I want to make sure that I would also want they don't have to pave the lot, but I'd want it to be anywhere they park needs to be gravel so they're not getting in the mud and tracking stuff out into the street where it looks like a construction place. I'm tempted to put like they can't operate, operational hours. Like it's got to be between not before 6:30 and not after 8:30.
And with that, I think that's the reason why it's zoned the way it is for not having construction storage. The first question is what was the difference between the construction storage and construction operates at a certain time and a certain amount. I think that's the reason for the zoning.
Yeah, I mean, per their site plan, they can do anything they can in commercial except for a bunch of things. Or 18 things. Some of them don't apply at all. It's not a pawn shop, but it's, closer to lawn, tree, and garden service to me, like thinking of like a nursery. I mean, it's not, but like the amount of traffic and just what's going on, or farm labor and management services. I know it's not farm, but it's got equipment that's coming in and out that's somewhat industrial in nature. So part of me is like, yeah, it's commercial, but it wasn't this.
Right, and I mean, there's several examples around town where nurseries are in neighborhood areas. The nursery near Poplar Estates Parkway. I mean, and like on the Hacks Cross, there's a nursery next to it. So, yeah, tree and lawn, that is pretty typical, but that is different from construction storage.
Yeah.
I'm with you, Mr. Chairman. I think we're writing kind of the same notes. Definitely want to eliminate the employee on street parking, probably proposing hours of operation. I think we addressed most of it. Now, would even probably even prefer a higher fence to even address I know it's site proof, but we're talking contractor type equipment, not just regular lawn equipment. So I think maybe even proposing a higher, taller fence.
Any suggestion on a height of fence?
Ooh, minimum 8.
Minimum 8. I guess we'll go with that, yeah.
But again, with the topography, I mean, I don't understand how the topography works. Are the houses higher than the other?
Houses would be higher. The south is higher than the north.
So if the houses are higher, that's part of the problem.
But what about going down Covington Pike?
Could you, the CMU2 thing we talked about that talked about couldn't have maximum heights, can you pull that up from your report? Yeah. I mean, if we have those on there, and we don't necessarily have to come up with the height of the fence, but it has to be completely screened.
Right.
And that would be,
But this is considered limited outdoor storage.
that's limited outdoor storage.
Looks like this puts a maximum height on the fence. We're talking about a minimum height, which is different from.
Well, it says that, does it have a max height? I was seeing 12 feet is the item stored can't be higher than 12 feet.
Well, I see.
The fence needs to be high enough to screen it.
So the only obligation of this one is it has to be screened
Okay.
from view.
Yeah, right.
Right.
And that's very subjective, right? I mean, that can be, well, I guess they said a class 3 buffer, so. I mean, if they have to plant additional vegetation, I guess that's what's required, whatever
Right.
that class 3 buffer.
They have all the trees, they probably have class 3 buffer. Except for the fence.
Yeah, so we don't have to have a height.
We don't have to have a height. It's just taken care of, but it's got to be screened.
Okay.
Okay, so,
Yeah, but it doesn't account for, it doesn't say evergreen.
so we'll go ahead and start with that condition then. So I would say condition 7 would be,
No queuing those.
items stored shall not be more than 12 feet in height and shall be fully screened from view. So basically, instead of limited outdoor storage, it says items stored, and then the rest of that sentence.
Problem with screening from view if you're up high.
But no,
Problem with screening from view, if the residence is up higher, they're gonna see.
you gotta figure it out.
Exactly. I mean, but yeah, I mean, if
Yeah,
that's
you're
what we're
right.
saying,
Yeah,
yes,
absolutely.
yes.
So does that condition make sense?
Can we repeat that?
Yeah, go back to that prior screen, Ms. Christian. So if you look at the number 1 that's highlighted, instead of remove, that sentence is fine, except for remove the words limited outdoor storage and say items stored shall not be more than 12 feet in height and shall be fully screened from view from adjacent residential development by class 3 buffer as set forth in 4.6.5.
Okay, sounds good.
Do we need to do number 2? Okay, so that's number 7. Do we need I'm trying to say, number 8 will be just number 2, but it just, again, say, items stored shall be located. So very similar, and that's gonna be number 8.
Okay, back to number 1. Just a point of clarification. Mr. Ragsdale did point out there is a piece of property between them and the residential. So I guess we should specify that where we want that.
I'm fine with that.
Okay. 1 minute. So technically, their property isn't adjacent
From
to the residential development.
how about from the neighborhood to the south? The houses along, is that Tulip Grove? Tulip Grove, and then whatever the cove is in the back.
So basically, we'll say the south side and west side of the property?
Be this,
Or sorry, east. Yes, east. Thank you.
yeah. Houses along Tulip Grove and Orange Tulip Drive.
Mr. Chairman, may I add something?
You cannot. We're done with that. No, I mean, no offense to you or anything. We're just, yeah. Yeah, the other, in the street that's on the eastern side, that's Orange Tulip Drive. I imagine that's Orange Tulip Cove.
An adjacent property isn't residential.
And Covington Pike. I think I'm fine with the number 2 that's number 8, just leaving it just like it is. You know, right now it's not adjacent to residential, but if that other area came residential, I think I'm okay with that particular statement. It just, almost by default, is going to be that far right now with that particular, how it's built out. That's number 8. Number 9, no queuing of workers along Covington Pike or other adjacent streets. Number 10, the parking area shall be either paved or line limestone gravelled. No dirt parking.
Did we want to make them pave, say, the first 40 feet to ensure that no gravel ends up in Covington Pike?
That sounds good, yeah.
I'll add that.
So the 40 feet of the drive shall be paved. Are y'all interested in hours?
I mean, what's fair for, I mean, not fair, but what makes sense for, I guess the early time is probably the one that's will probably cause the most issues, right?
Yeah. Right. I would do 6:30 or 7 on the front end. I would do 8:30. In the summer, I mean, that's daylight. So 8:30.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
as we talk about paving some of the property, is there an opportunity to shift some of the parking further to the north to take it away from the residences to the south?
Yeah.
That might be something that I asked the applicant. That's
Yeah.
possible.
They mentioned that. So do you want to put some words to that?
Staff parking shall be placed in the north quadrant of the site, most north as possible.
Staff or equipment?
Let's do the equipment.
Probably
Allow
equipment.
them to, they gotta have their trucks.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
The trucks that they're using.
Yeah. Did y'all get that? Okay. The equipment parking should be maintained to the northern part of the lot. Other thoughts? Okay, any discussion on those?
Just one more, Mr. Chairman. I know how it is to have diesel engines idle. I mean, you could let them sit for hours. I don't have an idea of how we would put into words, but if we could ask the applicant in this business to kind of monitor how long they let engines idle. I mean, if they get there at 6 and aren't going to leave till 7, if there's something we could do to say, keep the idling to a minimum. I can't think of any language to.
How do you police that?
I mean, I'm sure the neighbors will. Because if you got some trucks, I mean, with diesel engines, you just let them run. You know what I mean? And if they get there and start them up and go gathering equipment, and it takes a half hour, an hour before they leave, if there's a way we can cut down on that time, it might benefit the neighbors a little better.
Okay.
What do you think?
I'm thinking of how to do it.
Right.
That makes sense.
I mean, as far as the monitoring of it,
Engines can't idle more than 15 minutes. They can warm it up, but they can figure it out. Right? That's for them to figure out if 15 minutes works. But I don't know why it needs to idle more than 15 minutes. You can get the cab plenty warm in that amount of time to get out on your job.
Diesel is very expensive, so I don't know how they would want to do it any more than 15.
All of them love to sit there with them running, I'll tell you that much. And I will say, I'm not interested in the structure going here, just in general. So if we're thinking we want a structure here, we might want a different site before we do all this sort of improvement. So I think I would want a condition that no, is that already, are they already gonna have to come, if they try to build a structure, they would have to come back here, is that accurate? Is that, we don't have to put that in there?
In condition 5, let's see, what we have, any changes in termination? If we delete or administrative review and approval by the Division of Plan Development, then any change to the site plan would have to come back to y'all if they try to do anything different. Or we could make a separate condition that just says, no structure shall be erected.
I want a separate condition.
Okay.
Because I may be gone next month, I may be gone in 20 years.
Fair enough.
But, so I just kind of want that in the record of how we're conditioning it.
Okay, so we just make a condition that said, I guess, no buildings shall be erected.
Yeah.
On the property.
Yeah, I mean, I think then if we start doing that, we're getting into this whole business thing as opposed to just storage. And I think that's going against what was already in when it was approved to be commercial. Understood. All right, any thoughts on those before we vote? Okay.
And no objections?
No objections? Okay, if we're ready to vote.
Ms. Conrad?
Yes, as conditioned.
Mr. Claybrook?
Yes, as conditioned.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Mr. Bruce?
Yes, as conditioned.
Yes.
Ms. Skurlock?
No.
Vice Chair Savage Sheldon?
Yes, as conditioned by staff, I find that the standards of the UDC of 9.22.6 are being met and would be unduly detrimental to the properties in the vicinity.
And Chair Rand?
No.
Motion carries.
Motion carries.
Thank y'all.
Okay, thank y'all for coming down. Thank you. If we could call the next case, please.
Item number 7, BOA 2025-103 at 261 Blairmore Avenue.
Thanks. All support. Oh, wow. Okay. All right, if the applicant will come down, you're here, thank you.
Yes.
And you can have a seat if you want to. Yeah, we'll come back, and then Mr. Smith is going to give us a staff report.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Travian Smith. I'm a planner with DPD, and today we'll be discussing BOA 2025-0103. The applicant representative for this case is Carmela Blatcher, and the location is located at 261 Blairmore Avenue. And this is a variance request in order to allow group daycare home of 5 to 12 kids on a minor street that is greater than 150 feet from an intersecting arterial and a minor street that does not intersect with an arterial. On the left-hand side, you can see the location map, and as you can see, it's located out in South Memphis in the Whitehaven neighborhood. On the right-hand side, you can see the vicinity map, and 190 notices were mailed on September 29th, and we did receive 1 opposition. Here's the zoning map to give you more context. This location, again, is zoned within an R6 district. And then on the right-hand side gives you the land use maps, which gives you the layout of the area, the neighborhood. Here's an area view of the map of the property. And then here's some photos that give you more context. And as you can see, the home is the home right here, the darker brown home in the center. Here's some additional photos of the property in the surrounding area. Here's a property building sketch that was provided by the applicant that gives you more context of the property. And here's the floor plan of the property provided by the applicant. And again, this variance is related to paragraph 2.6.2B2 in the UDC, which is in regards to the site being located on a minor street that is not within 150 feet from the intersecting arterial. Staff recommends rejection due to the interest of having a group daycare home because it is more than 150 feet from the intersecting arterial. Allowing to operate a business within a single-family neighborhood would erode on the residential character and negatively impact the community. If you are interested in reviewing the letters of opposition, it is on page 22 and 23 of the staff report. And then also to add, the group child daycare home would also increase traffic on the minor residential street in regards to vehicle trips for the pickup and drop-off time, which could affect the residents that live in a neighborhood. And therefore, the granting of the variance will cause detriment to the greater good of the neighborhood. Staff recommends rejection upon, and if approved, the conditions listed is that a site plan would be uploaded along with a landscaping plan that would be approved by DPD. Any changes or deviations will be approved by the zoning administrator. And should no special permit be approved, this will become null and void on October 22nd, 2026. That concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Any questions for staff? Remind me again, how far is this from where it would need to be allowed?
That is a great question. It is 13,068 feet away from the closest intersecting arterial.
13,000 feet. And it needs to be 250?
150.
150.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. Any other questions for staff? All right, ma'am, if you want to come up and talk to us, if you'll start by giving your name and address for the record.
Bratcher, 261 Blairmore Avenue, Memphis, Tennessee, 38109.
Okay, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead, ma'am.
I'm here today to ask for a use variance for 261 Blairmore Avenue, which does not meet the specific location criterion. The intended purpose use of the property is to serve the community as a group daycare home. I am a third grade teacher and I work for Memphis Shelby County Schools. And I realized after years of serving that lately after COVID, I've been dealing with large class sizes and extreme workload, excessive administrative work, and I decided maybe to start a business and do more work, more personalized care at a home. I realized that the early years are absolutely critical, and I want to return to a more personal, child-centered approach, which would the group home would allow me to have by opening a home daycare, and I can create a kind of intimate, nurturing environment where young children can truly thrive. And this change would allow me to give more one-on-one attention with a smaller group. I can deeply understand each child's unique needs, strengths, and personality. I can create a home-like an atmosphere where we can focus on play-based learning and follow the children's natural curiosity in a comfortable, low-stress environment. I can tailor the curriculum. My extensive teaching experience means I can design a curriculum that is both structured and flexible, intentionally fostering social, emotional, and cognitive development in a way that just isn't possible in a large classroom setting. and also building a stronger community. I get to build close relationships, not just with the children, but with their families as well. And I want us to be a real community working together to support children growth. So the problem with the property being located in a way that's not permitted by the current zoning laws, it doesn't meet the requirement of being within 150 feet and intersecting arterial road, and strict adherence to the regulations disqualifies from operating a child daycare in a location, resulting in practical difficulties and undue hardship for myself. It wasn't self-created when I acquired the property. This wasn't the intended purpose until recent. But next slide, please. This is a closer shot of the home. Next slide. When I looked at the Memphis Urban Metropolitan Planning Organization, and that black circle is where my home is located, the accessibility is, it's doable because there's 3rd Street, which is 16, and then if you look to the right, Elvis Presley Boulevard, and then there's Interstate 55. Those roads are all accessible to East Shelby Drive, which leads right to Neely Road, straight to the home, as well as another street, Weaver Road, would lead to West Holmes Road, which would lead to Neely Road, and then turning right on Blairmore. It wouldn't really be a hardship on parents. Next slide. Also, upon doing my research, I discovered that this is a map of 2025 Tennessee Department of Human Services, and where I circled is where my location is. And as you can see, there really aren't a lot of options for childcare. Next slide, please. So we would consider that area is considered a childcare desert without enough childcare options. And my home is circled there in the green. Those West Haven Elementary, It Takes a Village Daycare, and Campbell's Learning Academy, those are the only 3 closest childcare options. West Haven, parents would have to wait until their child turns 3 or 4 years old. They have 36 available pre-K slots. It Takes a Village is a licensed daycare family center home, and their license capacity is 7. Also, Campbell's Learning Academy has a license capacity of 76. So we can clearly see that there are no other options within that community for a child care home for parents in that area. Next slide, please. So the benefits for the community: by providing local child care, these homes allow parents to maintain employment or pursue other opportunities, contributing to the financial stability. Can provide high quality care, consistent caregivers. Children often have the same caregiver, leading to a more consistent and stable environment compared to moving between classrooms in a larger center. Small group size, this allows more individualized attention and support for each child. Mixed age groups, group homes can care for siblings together, which is often a more preference for families with multiple children. And flexible hours, if permitted, family child care providers can offer more flexible hours, such as evenings and weekend care, which is crucial for parents with non-traditional work schedules. School readiness. Access to quality early childhood education care can help children develop important social, emotional, and cognitive skills necessary for success in school. My vision for Little Honeybee's Child Care is to blend professional expertise of a licensed educator with the warmth and security of a home environment. And so I'm confident that my background in education provides me with a unique and powerful foundation for this new venture, if permitted. And so also, when I acquired the home, it was unlivable. As you can see, it was really damaged structurally.
Excuse me, I just want, real quick, I just want to interrupt. So we have some, just letting you know, and you're the main person we want to hear from, but there's other people that are going to, if they need to talk.
Yes, sir.
You have about 3 minutes left.
Okay.
So I just wanted you to know, like, I wasn't trying to cut you off.
Yes, sir, thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Tony Hewlett, I'd like him to speak on behalf of the structure of the home.
Okay. Sir, if you'll give your name and address for the record for us.
Tony Hewlett, 5298 Lake Village Drive, Memphis, Tennessee, 38125.
Okay, and do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I
Okay,
do.
Go ahead and tell us, Mr. Hewlett.
Yes, when she acquired the home, as you can see, it was trashed out. Backyard was filled with all type of debris. Ceilings were broken in, busted. Looked like they had previous water damage, but they didn't fix the ceiling. They fixed the water damage, but they didn't repair the ceilings. Had water damage, water plumbing leaks in the bathrooms that let water sit, which, as you can see in that bottom picture to your left, how it riding the wall out there. The tubs had water underneath because the plumbing was bad. As you can see there in the kitchen there, your top left, where water damaged all that. Bad plumbing in the center picture at the bottom. All that was, the house was just destroyed. Every interior wall had damaged holes all through it. It was just a damaged home. So she took it from there and had things changed. As you would go through, as you can see, the first to the left is the original kitchen, and you look to the right, this is the current kitchen. If you go on down, the kitchen and dining room had old crud paneling from 1960s. All that was removed, new sheetrock, new cabinetry, new flooring. You can go on to the next slide, please. As you can see to the left, all that damage. Every room was damaged, every flooring was damaged. Everything has been changed in the house. Every single room has been upgraded and brought current to the way it looks now. And like I said, there's new tubs, new plumbing, patio doors was shattered. There's new shatterproof patio doors in the home. All the above has been changed out. As you can see to the left, all the damage in the bathrooms and how the current bathroom looks now. That bathroom there, that's the half bath. The new bathroom under the new vanity there, at first it had a hole in the bottom with water just sitting there. All that has been repaired. Everything has been repaired, renewed. The back patio, the top left, you can see it was sagging down. The roof structure was hanging. It was completely removed, all new replaced. And the new is on the right.
So now we have a renovated home with a safe layout and outdoor play area, and the daycare aligns with neighborhood character. And as you can see, we did not alter the residential nature of the home. And I also have here my grandmother. She is a property owner in that community, Ms. Martin.
We got like 19 seconds. Ma'am, if you'll give your name and address for us.
Okay. Margaret Martin, 5034 Ashland Grove, Arlington, Tennessee.
Okay. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, share with us real quick.
No. All right. I'm Camilla's grandmother. Her mother passed when she was about 11 years old. I raised her from that. She never was no problem in school, and she finished school. And I have taken care of her, never been in no trouble or nothing. Never gave me a hard time.
I don't know if I believe that.
Never gave me a hard time. Have two daughters, beautiful daughters of her own. Never been in trouble. They in, school and beautiful children.
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
Oh, and the property. I'm a real estate owner. I own 4 houses on that street. And matter of fact, that daycare, I gave it to her, you know, so she could start her business because she's good with children in school, with school teachers, and care very much for children.
Okay, thank you very much.
And I think she'll make a good daycare, you know, with the children in their neighborhood, because it's a beautiful neighborhood. And I think they really need a daycare, because I don't know of any daycare, you know, in that neighborhood that close with the children. Like I said, I own 4 houses on that street. And it would be nice if my tenants' children could have a nice daycare. Okay.
All right, thank you. Are there any, we're out of time, but we can ask you questions.
Okay.
Do you have any questions for Ms. Bratcher?
Ms. Bratcher, what's the number of children you are expected to have at the daycare?
Up to 12, ages 6 weeks to 5 years old.
And then I know you mentioned something about after hours or weekend care. Will you have someone, how is that going to be staffed? Is someone there 24 hours or how is that staffed?
I'll be living there 24 hours, and if permitted. My original hours would be 7 to 6, but if I find that parents need more care, I'm available. And I'll make sure I get that proper licensing to do that.
Thank you.
Are you planning to live in the house?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so it will be home occupancy.
Yes, sir. It'll be a real home-like environment. We just finished the work like 2 weeks ago in a home.
Okay. It doesn't negate everything. She can have 7 with a home occupancy by right. Isn't that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
And you were aware of that, right? As far as this.
Yes, I was, but I love teaching and.
You want to get 12. I'm a little confused about the arterial street. He mentioned that huge number, like 13,000.
Point of correction on that.
Okay.
So the technical answer is actually infinity, because it's not an intersecting arterial. But there was an extra 0 in the number. If you were to measure, just going by the street, how to get to the nearest arterial, it should have been 1,368 feet.
And is that,
it doesn't actually intersect.
Is that Shelby Drive?
Is that Neely and Shelby Drive?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I was thinking. I was like, 13,000.
Yeah, there was an extra 0.
That makes sense. I was like, 13,000. That's
like
doing
3
the
miles.
I mean, there are 4 houses off of Neely, and across from that is apartments and stuff. It's not like it's dead in the middle of like street after street of just single family.
I do have a question for.
Yes.
Your grandmother said she owns 4 properties over there. What made you select that property? This property?
She just decided to give me the home.
No, I just didn't
That
know
was
if
the
I
one.
knew.
That was, yeah.
I didn't.
And
I
when
didn't
she
know.
offered it to me, we talked about it. And so she did mention that there was a daycare before that was there many years ago. And then I do have other family members that live in New York City that started the business, and they talked and encouraged me that I should, you know, since I'm considering my career with Shelby County Schools, I still can continue to do what I love, but just in a different capacity.
Okay. Question for staff. If we were, as far as this variance, does it change the variance we're asking for a little bit if it is home occupancy? So we're really just varying to let 5 more kids go?
So it doesn't change the request, because, I mean, whether they live there or not isn't really relevant to the group daycare home aspect. It's only relevant because, you know, like the group day, because that's like it's really a business. So that you're not expected to live there. As where the home occupation, that's the one up to 7 where you're expected to live there.
So the fact that she lives there is just like a plus. It has no really bearings on the calculation. In this
It has no variance on the variance requests from the code, over how it plays in your mind.
Could we request a different variance with it being home occupation to increase the amount of kids in a home occupation to 12?
So I guess the problem is there, we try not to give variances to things so that would, I guess you call it change the definition, because you're really a different use at that point.
Okay, I can see that. It can just open up a whole slippery slope of future home daycares.
Okay. Other question, let's finish with our applicant too, sorry. We sometimes get off track when we're trying to think through things. Any other questions for Ms. Bratcher? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Let's get, I want to look real quick at, let's get a motion to approve 2025-103 as conditioned by staff, so we can start some discussion.
So moved.
Second. Okay, any discussion?
So I'm still kind of stuck on the arterial street rule just because of the size of, the closest adjacent street is Neely. And Neely is a multi-lane. Like it's not your traditional one-way, one lane each way type of. So it gets its significant traffic anyway because it's, it's right off Shelby Drive. And I know Shelby Drive is the main arterial, is the main street right there. So just trying to understand how.
Basically, I think it's supposed to be less than 100, the way I think about it, less than 150 feet from like 2 major streets. I know that the definitions are arterial and all that stuff, but it would be Neely and Shelby Drive would be more the definition as opposed to our intersection into a 4-lane street.
Okay.
I'm with you, like, the 4 lanes seems like it's pretty major.
Yeah,
This is
that's
just right off of it, but I think the idea is you keep them on also somewhat of a major street or just off of it.
Okay.
Or off that intersection.
Yeah,
of the two.
yeah.
And I think the whole idea, like those arterials aren't like they have been designated certain streets are those streets.
Yeah, so you can't just
It's
change
not like a definition. If this you're a street, you're like this street is one, as opposed to 4-lane or 2-lane.
Did I understand it correctly that they have a right to have up to 7 kids by right?
If they're living there, yes.
All right, and I don't think there's a whole lot of traffic. Think that neighborhood's a school zone. I mean,
And if we were to approve this, does it run with the property? I can't remember.
Yes.
Yeah, it runs with the property.
Okay.
even though that we don't have any official rebuttal here, I do want to acknowledge there were some letters that were in opposition on page 22 and 23. Yeah, too. No, page 20.
Yeah, I think I'd like to, if we do lean in favor, I think I'd like to put a friendly amendment in there that if she sells this property, then somebody has to come back to us.
We'd have to do a sunset. Like we
Okay.
can't make it in any way
Based on a
contingent
transaction.
on her.
Okay.
We can do it on time. I mean, you could do like even like a 2-year sunset, and then if the neighbors that they're worried about traffic and stuff like this, if it ends up being that it is families, you might have 3 cars dropping off, or 4 cars dropping off 12 kids,
Right.
as opposed to 12 cars.
be no cars. I mean, they could be, neighborhood children.
And I see one of them, one of the opposition is calling this a group home or whatever, but we are limiting this use to daycare, right? Is that my understanding?
I think it's called the group daycare home. So that maybe, I'm sure they understand it is for children.
I just want to make
The
sure.
technical term is group daycare home.
So that would not be adults with dementia.
Correct.
I mean, even though is adult daycare now, I think, but I don't know if that's technically what you guys call it. When you think of daycare, I typically think of children, but I think there are daycares that.
There are group homes that are not necessarily daycare.
But it definitely is, by saying daycare, it definitely isn't like it's not around the clock care for those individuals in it.
Yes, the definition does say children.
Okay, good.
So.
I just wanted to clarify that because I'm reading one of the opposition letters. I think she kind of gave it multiple designations. So I just wanted to clarify that this use was strictly for children.
Other thoughts?
As a home, if this was a home daycare with a max of 7, would they be able to do overnight care by right? And I only ask that because that kind of determines, I know she mentioned if that was a need, that she can offer the 24 hours, but I'm just want to think that through because that can pose a whole different set of activity in the middle of the night if people are coming to pick up, so.
I think she did mention needing to go back and get licensed.
Yeah. But I want to know if that's a by right thing that can happen if you were limited to your 7 at home.
Yeah.
Because you will have that condition either way is what I was trying to say. And if it's not a by right use, I would probably want to disallow it if we were to agree on it.
The home occupation does not appear to have any hour limitations.
So we can make that up.
Lucy? Max hours, like 7 to 7?
Yeah.
Like, it said 7 to
Okay,
7.
wait, we have found it. Okay, all public contact related to the home occupation shall be limited to the period between 7 a.m. and 8 p.m. Okay, so there is a limitation.
Yeah, 7 a.m. Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Well, I would want to, if we were to agree to this, I would want to keep those as part of the conditions as well.
But that's not a condition. That is just if your home
That's
occupation,
allowed.
that is what happens.
Yeah,
Right.
but if we're looking for a variance to make this into a group, to a non-home.
No, I think I think that was for the, which one was that for, Jeffrey? What use was that, those hours related to?
That's home occupation.
Home occupation. So if we do
So any home occupation.
is this still considered a home occupation because she's living there? Even though it's a home occupation, she's asking to do a group home daycare in?
Okay, now that we're looking at this, so normally, if it's a home occupation under group instruction, that's where you're limited to 7, but now the group instruction does say any home occupation involving group instruction of more than 7 students per hour shall require the issuance of a conditional use permit. So there is a way to convert this application from a variance to a conditional use permit that would keep it as a home occupation, but you're now just allowing more children. So we could do that instead of a variance.
Does it max out what those kids can be, or is it just?
It looks like it would be up to, let's see, okay, that would limit us, group occupation involving more than 10 students at a time are prohibited. So that still would only get you a maximum of 10.
We can do that with a condition.
More than 10 students?
It's a group Yeah, occupations involving more than 10 students at a time are prohibited. So so 7 is by right, you could get up to 10 through a conditional use permit.
So can we just convert this to a conditional use and
That limits
back to that 10?
That limits it to 10, yeah.
But that's an easier thing to kind of swallow, right?
I leave that to you.
I kind of like the conditional use one.
I'm with you.
Because it feels like we're still honoring the letter of the law, and we're allowed to do a conditional use. It maxes as a 10.
Yeah.
But
To do with the conditional use, like what are my standards? Does that make sense? Like what am I supposed to find?
Okay, the Board of Adjustment shall take the following into consideration when approving the maximum allowed number of students per hour. The number of sessions per day, whether the group instruction will take place on a single-family lot or within a multifamily site, the size of the subject site, and the classification of the streets on which the site abuts according to the MPO Long Range Transportation Plan.
Okay. So I don't have to find something particularly unique about this property.
That is correct.
Okay. So, Ms. Bratcher, I don't know if you're going to like this or not. I just want to explain to you. One of my issues with this whole case is the items that you said were unique about the property, you could just say about any property ever. Like the property wasn't really unique to be further from the street. Uniqueness is, it's hard to think of one for this, but like, oh, it's already been built out only as a daycare, not as a house. That would make this property unique to want to be a daycare. Or sometimes you have like a very narrow lot and we need to do something weird with zoning because it only fits on it that way. That's like the perfect textbook when you explain a variance. You didn't really have that. I was already having some trouble with that. I don't have trouble doing the conditional use permit because I don't have to find you unique anymore. And I can give you 10 kids, and I think I can do it in good conscience on what I'm saying. And so that's why I'm going to suggest to the board, and we've already, other people probably suggested it first, to do a conditional use permit to give you 10, because I think we legally can do that with a clear conscience on what we're allowed to do. Okay.
That sounds good. Thank you.
Okay. All right, so what do we need to do that, Mr. Pentis? Like, how do we change our variance, or do we just do a motion?
So Julia, could we do this today, or would we need to like hold this to rewrite a staff report to follow the? Okay, so I guess we should at least hold this for 1 month, and then we'll convert the case from the variance to a conditional use permit that in RSL there's technically a different application. And then we'll give you a staff report that follows the guidelines for conditional use permits and the home occupations that we just discussed.
So does that make sense?
Yeah, if the applicant agrees, because obviously we want to make sure they're consenting to
if you're
this
okay with
instead of
doing that. I was going to have trouble voting yes, and I think doing this other thing, it's 30 days later, but I think it's probably going to be something that satisfies the board and gets you the right answer. So, all right, so we're going to, can we get a motion to hold?
So moved.
Second. All right, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, we'll see y'all next month then, okay? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Could you call our next case, please?
Item number 12, BOA 2025-93 at 3101 East Range Road.
Okay. So this is the case, guys, that we heard last month on Rains, where they were requesting to do the metal covering over the driveway kind of in front of the house. So they've come back and asked for a rehearing. I assume that y'all have read the staff report and the request. So first thing to vote on is whether or not we want to hear any testimony. And then the second thing to vote on would be whether we want to rehear the case. Any thoughts on those items?
And when you say testimony, you mean testimony about why we should rehear the
Testimony
case?
of whether we should rehear it, yes, sir.
But after the testimony, we still have to decide if we want to put it back on the
Yeah, if we
future docket.
wanted to hear testimony on whether to rehear it, we would just say yes or no at that point, and if we say yes, we would actually rehear it in 30 days.
I don't mind hearing testimony. I mean, I don't mind hearing testimony, but we still get to make a
I
decision.
can't imagine anything's gonna change my mind.
Based on what I read, I didn't see anything that we didn't talk about in our last meeting that adds anything to the discussion. I think this was the issue here was the uniqueness had to do with the slope of the driveway, but the solution was to put a metal covering over the driveway in front of the house. And that's just, they have requested that possibly to allow to do the metal covering just for a short term while they explore, kind of blowing out the carport so you get past that. But I just don't find that compelling. I just don't want I don't think I could ever vote to have the metal there even for a short amount of time.
Well, too, and this is one where the neighborhood was quite in opposition to,
So I guess what I'd ask y'all to do is show of hands if you want to hear any additional testimony on whether we should hear the case next month.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
One of the things that kind of concerned me after we heard the case was the fact that there is the elevation of the subject site is a lot different than some of the surrounding lots. And I did want to kind of give that a closer look to see if that would qualify or could be considered something unique about the site. I would like to hear testimony.
Okay, so it's one person, one mere testimony. Anyone else?
My rebuttal to that was simply, we're not doing anything to change the elevation of the driveway. So we're not improving anything about the driveway that will make it less steep. So adding the carport I think that was my reasoning last time. Adding the carport did not change how that space would be used. It would just be covered in steep versus just steep.
And I would say, although I might be willing to hear, to give them a chance to explain why we should rehear it, we talked about elevation last time, and that's something we've already discussed. I think that for us to rehear it, they've got to show that we either made an error or we did something that was outside the law. That's what they have to show. And rediscussing issues that we've already discussed, doesn't fit that requirement.
Okay. So we need to rehear it. To even hear testimony, we need 5 votes, right? Would that be accurate?
So I know to rehear, we need to hear 5 votes. To hear oral testimony.
Throwing all kind of curveballs today.
I know, lots of questions.
So, and I'm trying to refresh my memory. This wasn't extending out the existing carport. This was trying to build something completely separate.
It was. In their letter that they sent, they would like to explore building it, doing something more compatible than the metal. But I think that, in my opinion, if they want to bring something like that at some point, they can. But to bring it to say, let's get this until we figure something else out is not something I think we talked about it a lot.
I think, Mr. Chairman, I think that I might be wrong, and this is why I would like to hear the testimony. I think that the applicant, right now, it's just a metal skeleton. The skin isn't on the structure. And I think some time to figure out if there's a way to add a covering to the structure that's not metal, maybe reason they want to hold up and kind of explore those options.
And Mr. Chairman, to hear oral testimony, we would default to Robert's Rules of Order, so you need a simple majority, which today also happens to be 5.
It happens to be fine. Okay. All right, do we have any others that want to hear additional testimony for the rehearing today? All right, so I'm going to ask y'all if y'all, so I'm not seeing any need for testimony today on whether to rehear. Now we're discussing on whether we want, or testimony. Now it is the discussion that's very similar to last discussion on whether we want to rehear the case, which would be where they would come back next month. Further discussion on that. Go ahead, sorry.
My discussion on that would be if there's some, to Mr. Bruce's statement, that if there's some error that we made by law, or if there's some new testimony or exhibits or samples that will be brought forth. They have 30 days to show us a different diagram or something different, because the way it is now, the metal frame, I cannot, in good conscience, and having heard the testimony from opposition, vote on that, to come up with, hey, we're going to go ahead and build out a carport or close it in and make it a closed garage, something of that nature would, that extreme, that extent, I'm not going to say extreme, would help one to hear testimony, different testimony, because we voted and discussed this pretty extensively last time.
I agree with that. Like if they come back if they come back and say we decided to build it out, then it's definitely worth rehearing.
Let me ask you this. So let's say we don't hear anything today, and they come back in a month and have said, hey, we figured out a way to make this work. We're going to bring the front of the house out 3 feet, and building it like the house. That's a different request. So that would be allowed, or, because what they asked for was a metal structure. If they come back asking for something other than the metal structure, are they allowed to do that? Isn't there normally a 6-month waiting period when you get denied?
There's normally a 6-month waiting period, but y'all have the ability to waive that if you want. And if that is what's happened, then I would say we should do that, not be involved with rehearing this to potentially hear a different solution.
That's what I was kind of getting at.
Yeah.
So, okay. So we're gonna do a voice vote to see so just to understand, they can come back and bring a different case whenever they figure out what that different case needs to look like.
Yes, if it's after 6 months. If it's before 6 months, they can just let us know, and we can bring that to you to see if you will allow them to file it.
Okay. I would, if there's one word to describe this board, it's gracious. So I don't think that would be a problem if it's different. I can say that if it's too much in front of that house, it's probably something that I wouldn't think very highly of. So all those in favor, so we're going to say, if you're in favor of rehearing the case next month, please say aye.
Aye.
So that's to rehear the case next month. This, right, the exact case we already have.
Wait a minute, let me,
Yeah.
I'm a little confused.
So your vote of aye would allow them to come back next month and us rehear the case we've heard before. Maybe they bring something different, maybe they don't.
Right. So the discussion about bringing a new,
is if they bring a new case whenever, they can bring it in 6 months by right. They can bring it in less than 6 months with our allowing them to, but they would ask them.
Yeah.
And I would more default to bring us something and let's talk about it when you have a better plan. But it wouldn't be this case. It would be a new case.
Okay. So my thought, and I may be wrong in this, but my thought is we don't know if they have figured out a way to bring this case to us in such a way that we would approve it. What I saw in the last, when it came to us before, they did not have representation. They presented the case themselves. And I think now that they understand what we're expecting and what's in the code, I such a way that this body would feel comfortable with approving it, then that's that. But what happens in the 6 months between now and if they bring back another case, do they have to take the metal building down?
We're eliminating the 6 months.
Okay, I guess that's what I'm lost.
Right. Well, I mean, that's what we're.
If they want to bring back a new case, they can do it.
It would be a new case with a different solution.
Right.
And the 6 months will not apply if you wait.
So what's the difference between that and just letting them bring the new information?
Because the case, what they asked for is, we think we could come up with something, like, we want time to come up with something, but can we do this now? Is the way the letter read to me.
So what they're bringing this month will not be a different solution.
Yet, it was like, let us do this for a little bit, and we'll work while we work on other ideas.
So the little bit is just 30 days?
Didn't say.
As long as they.
So if they come back next month, they're just gonna be asking for permission to do what we rejected already. We're saying if they come back with a whole new idea, that'll be a different case altogether, and they have the right to do that, so we'll waive the 6 months.
So that's another application fee.
How much are the application fees?
For a single family, 150.
Okay.
Well, I'm gonna stay in my position
fine,
to
yeah.